Welcome to Gold Squadron Paint Wars, a painting competition that gives 3 painters the same model, theme, and 2 weeks to give us their best work, whose technique, artistic choices, and most importantly, execution of today's theme will earn them a Paint Wars Champion medal.
Hello, my name is Noah Wilson. I'm from Otter Creek, Wisconsin. I've been painting miniatures for about 2 years. I tend not to enter competitions. I see painting as a zen activity that I enjoy for my own pleasure. I'm really looking forward to seeing what ship and prompt I get. And of course, I wish everyone else good luck.
Hi, my name's Jonathan Lowman, aka Yodataco. I'm from Belmont, North Carolina, close to Charlotte. I'm excited to see what it is we'll be painting. Hope that this will be a fun and exciting experience. I'm very thankful that GSP is putting it on, and I hope that everything goes great.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Evan Claassen. I've been painting on and off for about 15 years. Hopefully, a little bit of that information over those 15 years has sunk in and it'll help me out here. I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. I think it's going to be a great chance to throw down with some really amazing painters. No idea how this is going to end up, but win, lose, or draw, I've gotten to do this, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be an absolute blast.
The Leviathan, Hydra, and Loch Ness Monster are examples of the creatures that have haunted the hearts of those that are brave enough to sail the open seas. Which of these legendary creatures will you use to inspire your repaint? And the model being painted for this prompt is the Lat Gunship.
So we've got
Mythical creatures of the sea.
The Leviathan, Hydra, and Loch Ness Monster are examples of creatures
that have haunted the hearts of those that are brave enough to sail open seas. Which of these legendary creatures will you use to inspire your repaint?
I like it. Mythical creatures of the sea. Wow. Alright, there's that Lat Gunship right there.
Alright.
And our lead judge today is Wade Piche.
Hey, everyone.
We're also joined by Lyla Mev and Chris Kuzmanoff.
Howdy.
So today's prompt, judges, is Mythical Creatures of the Sea. All of you are experienced painters. We're going to start with you, Wade. What do you think you would do if you were attacking a Lat Gunship? How would you approach a mythical creature of the sea?
I always think of speckling a lot. Like when you look at like a sea crab and stuff like that in the shell, you kind of see like a lot of this kind of like speckling, I guess, like a speckled egg in a lot of ways. Also, I'd love to see like seaweed dripping off from behind it, or like, you know, something to give it kind of more an atmospheric sea feel, or in which you don't already have it on there.
Lyla?
I'm looking at it 2 ways. I would be curious to see how they were painted inspired by the sea, whether that's coral reefs or maybe the deep, dark, scary ocean, but then also what sort of weathering could also be done with a ship related to the sea. So I will be very interested to see how they have decided to incorporate this into their painting.
And Chris?
Piggyback off of what Lyla said there about the weathering, I always picture like creatures of the sea having Luke's X-Wing down in and just getting completely covered in seaweed and barnacles, and as it's flying out, the weathering that's going around it, and incorporating some of that in there, but also taking it to maybe a different place and some, I don't know, some tentacles hanging off of a space here, maybe a Zoidberg Cthulhu face going on, just something to really just go off the reservation to just a really bizarre place.
I went back and forth between tentacled creatures and other sea creatures, or just aquatic creatures generally, and I kept coming back to tentacles. I started down this road for inspiration was woodblock prints from Japan from the 1700s, and I started looking at that because of George Lucas's influence from Kurosawa and those sorts of inspirations that he used to make the original films. Anyway, the front of this is very much a submarine. So I'm going to be incorporating some metallics. So I'm using oranges and natural yellows probably to do that. And also the other reason I chose the oranges and the yellows was because there's already a sea creature in the Gold Squadron logo. So I'm going to also attempt to incorporate a hidden G inline.
If you're gonna do a competition, you may as well try something new, right? Yeah, sounds smart. So in order to pull this repaint off, what I'm gonna be using is mainly a Badger Chrome. This is gonna be for laying down my base coats, getting some nice smooth blends in there. And then I've got a various assortment of paintbrushes here. And then in order to create the Leviathan look, what I think I'm gonna do is use these. These are fingernail airbrush type stencils. I'm going to be trying to run those across the upper surfaces, so it's like an armored back on this thing. We'll probably try and put a mouth down here. Once I've got all that done, I'm going to lay down a really thick coat of gloss varnish to lock it in, because I'm going to try and do something that I haven't done before. I'm going to try and make it look like there's light coming down from the top, going through water, and then playing across the ship. So it'll give you a various crisscross pattern of that light hitting the ship. We'll go with that and we'll see what we get out of it. Hopefully I like the effect. Hopefully it doesn't completely crash and burn.
When I look at the lap, I don't think of it as some sort of Leviathan, Kraken. The Kelpie looks kind of like a horse on the front and a mermaid fin on the back, and the Hippocamp looks kind of like a seahorse slash horse on the front, a mermaid on the back. That's kind of what the lat looks like to me, in a way. I tend to brush base coat instead of spray base coat or airbrush. I don't have an airbrush, and I don't really prefer to spray coat. I prefer to brush base coat. And I'll likely try and get some shading going. I know there's a light source could come from anywhere in space, and even with that, I want to show variations in the color as it goes across the ship. So likely, I'll be going from a darker to lighter gray. My main concerns are that there's a lot of angular spots on the lat. And many of the X-Wing ships kind of suffer from this, but the lat show them very, very well. Hopefully, I can do well with the challenge, and hopefully I can express that and make it look great. We'll see.
Our first category in the competition is technical quality. Painters are judged on their painting technique. This focuses on the execution of the repaint. Our judges are going to be looking for clean application of the paint they put on, as well as any quality of construction that they're doing on the modifications that they may be adding to the ship. Lyla, what do you think?
Well, for this first one on Evans, I can see that they put a lot of effort and time into the lining of all their panels. They've also done panel lining, but their lining is a little shaky. I can tell that they have the concepts, but the application is not as clean as I would like to see. On Jonathan's ship, they seem to have a bit of difficulty with applying clean layers of paint exactly where they want. When I'm looking at those yellow areas, I want to see those edges really sharp and crisp, and instead it looks like the paint has sort of bled over, or if they've done multiple layers and it has moved on to the other parts of the ship. And for technical quality, I want those really crisp lines. I want those panel linings, or however you're going to denotate those different sections. And I feel like the base layer is applied, but it hasn't gone any further in technical skill. When I look at Noah's ship, I can tell that not only have they taken the time to do the, like I said, panel lining, but they've also used different colors in the panel lining. It's not all just black. They've considered what sort of grit and grime might be getting into those panels, what the best colors to use are to help those areas pop. I'm looking at the wings where the panel lining is done in brown, whereas you look at the body and it's done in black. They also have different weathering techniques that look very, very natural, like they would actually be there. And you can tell that they've taken a lot of time to consider how they're going to apply these techniques to this model to make it fit the theme and design that they have wanted to achieve.
Our second category is artistic quality. This focuses on color choices, how those color choices work together, as well as the general effect that the painter was able to create. Chris?
Looking over each of the ships, I really enjoy the color palettes that they all chose here, and they really go well with the theme of sea creatures within it. when we look at Jonathan's ship, they have more of a seafoam greenish palette that they're working with, but also using the contrasting color of the yellow against it to really make the guns pop up at the front and some of the panels going along the sides almost as if they're gills, which is really interesting to see and really makes those, using the color choices to help those details pop out. When you look at Evan's ship, they did a similar technique by using the contrasting yellow against the green as well, but they took the extra step of then going and making sure that the cockpits themselves started to pop out as well by using purples within there, and it was a really nice touch. And then when we go over to Noah's ship, they used all the different color choices here to really section off their ship, which I thought was really great. And as you're looking at the back as well, they took time and care to pick out more of the details in their color choices, and also on the engines in the back, and having the colors within that reflect what they should be.
And our final and most important category is thematic quality. Did the painters actually adhere to the prompt that they were given? And if so, whose choices makes the strongest connection to this episode's prompt? Our lead judge, Wade Piche, is going to take a look at those.
Evan went with a very more prehistoric feel, I feel. He used kind of like that speckling kind of feel that I was kind of like looking for when I was first thinking of the theme. And I kind of liked the way he used it in this piece. Jonathan uses kind of more of a traditional camouflage line on his wings, kind of like trying to reflect the light in the waves when you look at a sea creature. I think that's, or like when you're looking from above, you know, trying to make it look like it blends into the sea, which I think is kind of a cool approach. He also went with like a glowing kind of gill look for the side panels of the ship. We're trying to guess on what Noah was trying to bring with his ship design, and then we decided it kind of looked reminiscent of a flounder. Typically with the side of his ship, he had like one eye painted, which wasn't represented on the other side. And we thought it kind of felt more like a ship trying to look like a sea creature than a sea creature trying to look like a ship.
As the judges have their final deliberations, we're going to go ahead and hear from our painters before we find out who's our winner.
We've hit that deadline, and life did what life does. I wanted to get a couple more hours. I wanted to play with it a little bit more, but I was able to accomplish the effect that I was looking for the most part. We talked a little bit about the water effect with the light filtering through it and how that didn't quite work out. I do like the effect that we ended up with. Got a really nice green-orange pop going on with the scales, and then my personal favorite part of the entire piece is probably the purple accents. That purple has been put in over the glass, and I think it looks really sharp. I think it came out really good. That being said, I've got really good confidence in the piece. I really like the piece. There's a lot of really good painters out there, and I'm sure that there are a lot of really good painters that signed up for this. If it does well, I'll be really happy. If it doesn't do well, I'll still be really happy because it's a good piece. I know that it pushed me, and I pushed it, and I think we came up with a really good result. So let's stick around, and we'll see how this thing ends.
It was a wonderful experience, and I'm glad to have been able to participate. It was a very challenging experience. It was amazing to have, you know, a prompt given to me and you know, have to kind of think out of the box, out of what, you know, I normally would give to myself to do. I'm pretty happy with the result. You know, I'm the type of person that, you know, there's always ways to improve. There's always things that I could do better. I spent the time that I was going to spend on it, and any less time or any more time spent on it really, I think, would not have changed the way I approached things, or the way that I would have gone about the challenge. I did well for what I was going for and what I did, you know, what I wanted to do. You know, I'm happy with what I did and how I worked on it. I want to say thank you to GSP for letting me be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm happy with my overall result. I combined metal and regular paint in a nice way. I think it succeeded in a lot of ways there. the Galactic Republic emblem idea, the 8-pointed rondelle, became sort of a, I don't know if you want to call it like a squid or an octopod mouth or a beak, as they have. Sort of a beak with teeth emblem almost, or almost a sarlacc, or almost kind of blasting into hyperspace, although I don't think these gunboats do a lot of work at hyperspace, you know. So I kind of incorporated that in as the maw, and I think that worked out pretty well. I wish everybody else the best of luck. I don't expect to win, but you know, I never do, so no big deal.
The winner of this episode of Gold Squadron Paint Wars is... Noah Wilson.
We overall really like Noah's theme and his approach to it the most. He brought more of a squadron feel to his ship, which we thought stood out more compared to the other two.
Without even knowing what the prompt is, we could look at it and say, that's a sea creature. That's super cool.
Thank you to our painters and judges for their amazing work, and thank you to you for watching Gold Squadron Paint Wars. The models being painted on our show are being given away to you, our audience and supporters, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and then follow us on Instagram and Twitch so that you don't miss when we're giving these models away. And if you want to be a part of our biggest group of supporters, the ones that made this show possible, head over to patreon.com/goldsquadron. It is linked below. Now let us know in the comments, do you agree with our judges, and is there a painter that was on this episode that you think is deserving of another chance in a future episode? Thanks for watching Gold Squadron Paint Wars. Gold Squadron out.